Welcome back to Pachehra Talks. My name is Arun and I'm Solutions Architect with Rackspace Technologies, which is one of the best organizations to work with. And today, in continuation of data integration solution with Azure Data Lake, we are going to talk about the architecture which is left in the previous video, the last slide. So in just to refresh your mind, in previous video, we tried to understood what is ADL, Azure Data Lake Storage. We went through many features that ADL provides, the usage, use cases. We talked about the advantages and the challenges of Azure Data Lake. And today it's all about architecture. This is a very generalized architecture that I have borrowed from Microsoft documentation. This is not a hard line like you have to create like this, but this is more of a generalized way of creating this kind of architecture. Along with all that, regulated industries can also opt for this. If you go deep dive, it is highly secure as well. But from our perspective, we need to understand how the ADL piece is getting fitted in this architecture, because this is a video for Azure Data Lake. So presented architecture, as you see here, we have a couple of phases: ingest, store, transform, then again store, and consume the data. But the point is, if you remember in the previous video, we talked about Azure Data Factory, which is orchestration. So it's ADF, Azure Data Factory, which is actually orchestrating all those activities from ingestion to, because data is ingesting to data lake, but how? Through ADF. From ADL, whatever data is needed for the transformation, the data is picked by Databricks, how ADL is there. Then after transfer, moving it to the warehouse or SQL DB through ADF. So we know what ADF does. We have created 2 videos on ADF in this series. There are few in the other series. So we now understand what Azure Data Factory is, what pipelines activities are, what our data set. It is an orchestration tool. We do understand that. So this architecture is actually controlled by ADF, but our focus is Azure Data Lake. So this architecture that you're seeing on the screen right now uses Azure Data Lake as initial storage of extracted data. It's doing ELT. Hence, extracted data is loaded into Azure Data Lake. ELT is extract, load, and transform, which is more nowadays because of unlimited scalable storage provided by cloud. We can see here in the extract phase, data is extracted from various sources here just to represent some structural and structure. It could be unstructured data from various sources extracted, including all various kind of data and dumped into the Azure Data Lake. Then as per the requirement, incremental transformation is done by Azure Data Factory, and the cleansed data moved to the data warehouse or SQL DB, which is finally consumed by the business users through the analytic tools like Power BI. So if we need to understand few things to get this architecture in our head properly. And what are those things? These are not actually the things. This is actually the history of the transformation or load or data or the usage of data, how information is the weapon, if I could say that. Weapon of what? Weapon of building businesses, weapon of how to win the market, things like that. So let's go little back and try to understand. Hope you like this. So today, business across the world require data integration to centralize, access, and activate data across the organizations. Business must leverage dozens of data sources across countries, continents, and teams to drive results in the data driven economy. You'll find all those examples live when you search YouTube, you search Amazon. If you search, let's suppose shoes in Amazon, and you're browsing something on the Google, you'll find those little ads of shoes wherever you browse. Ultimately, everything is driven through data. So in this complex, fractured landscape, combining multiple data sources into a unified view has never been more important. But this challenge is nothing new because data integration has vexed organizations since the dawn of the digital era. ETL is the first standardized method for facilitating data integration, which was emerged in 70s. ETL rose to prominence as enterprise business adopted multi uh, branch computer system and heterogeneous data sources. These businesses needed a way to aggregate and centralize data from transactions, payroll systems, inventory logs, and other ERP applications. With the rise of data warehouse in 80s, ETL became even more essential. Data warehouses could integrate data from a variety of sources, but typically required custom ETLs for each data source. This led to an explosion of ETL tools by the end of 90s. Many of these solutions finally became affordable and scalable for mid-market business, not just large enterprises. When the emergence of cloud computing happened in 2000, cloud data lakes and data warehouses caused a new evolution, which was ELT, extract load transform. With ELT, business could load unlimited raw data straight into the cloud data warehouse because it is okay to dump any kind of data in data lake, right? That's what we understood from the very beginning, and no need to customize anything for every data source. So that's the beauty. Now, engineers and analysts could execute an infinite number of queries on top of the raw data directly inside the cloud data warehouse itself. For the first time, business could unlock the analytical firepower and efficiency that big data had always promised. Combined with visualization tools and cloud data warehouses, ELT ushered in a new era of analytics and data-driven decision making. So if you go with the timeline, you understood we always knew information is power. How we get the information through data, we always knew that, but we never had those kind of tools in place in on premises because this is not the actual business of the people, but you could enhance the business from the data. So to enhance the business, you need to use the data, and to use the data or do ETL, you need to have a lot of money or big pocket, because these tools are not very cheap and you do not have that storage that cloud provides. So with the cloud data lakes, we have the access because we are paying as per use. We are paying, and we need not to buy huge storage before establish ETL or ELT. In cloud, it is there, right? That's why ELT is very, very frequent or more as compared to the old way of extracting information from the data. So that's why I just wanted to talk about a little bit how this data came, how ETL was there, then multiple tools, then ELT became. So that's why ELT is here. And this architecture that we are talking about, let's see some use cases. For example, if you are planning a PaaS solution for data and AI workloads, you can think for this kind of architecture. If you have to plan analysis on the transformed data, doesn't matter whether it's ETL or ELT, you could think for this kind of architecture, because this is the very base architecture where you have to extract data from multiple sources with the help of data factory. Then you have to dump that data somewhere. If you have multiple different kind of data, then data lake is the best way to do this. And then do the transformation, cleansing of the data, and again dump it to the uh, SQL or warehouse so that you can extract information. Uh, yeah, that's all about it. So I hope this architecture helped you understand the data lake piece of the architecture. And thank you for watching. Let's meet in the video. Take care. Bye bye.